The Jacksonville Jaguars lead the reigning Super Bowl champion New England Patriots by a score of 20-10. Jacksonville is on the verge of advancing to their first Super Bowl in their 23-year franchise history. What happens next will be the subject of debate for years to come.
To Lewis, shoulder in front, all for game. Miles Jack falls on it, comes up with the football.
Miles Jack is ruled down. What would have been a commanding lead turns into a blown one. Jacksonville's campaign has ended in heartbreak. Since coming oh so close to the Super Bowl, the Jaguars have compiled a record of 15-41. In truth, they already sucked before that. It's time to answer this question. Why are the Jacksonville Jaguars so bad? New year, new me. That gets said a lot. Let me hit you with some hard truth. If you want to start off your year healthy, the gym isn't the place to do that. It's at the dinner table. No exercise you do is going to be worth a thing if you don't fix your diet. That's why I'm here to tell you about Factor, a meal service that makes meeting your nutrition goals easier than ever by delivering fresh, dietitian-approved meals right to your doorstep. Factor menus are updated weekly and include over 27 meals and 33 add-on options. And you can customize your diet plan: keto, calorie smart, chef's choice, vegan, or veggie. It's all here. Plus, no prep or mess. These meals are ready to go. I drink one of their smoothies in the morning for breakfast and then zap one of their delicious meals for lunch, and they taste great, are low calorie, and allow me to max out my workout. So after this video, head to go.factor75.com/plans and use 5points120 to get $120 off over your first 5 weeks of meals. Again, that's go.factor75.com/plans from the link below and use code 5points120 for $120 off over your first 5 weeks of meals. Factor, healthy eating made easy. Finding rock bottom. Having your own fans and even ex-players dress in clown gear because you're keeping your general manager is pretty bad. But that's not rock bottom for this franchise. In fact, the clown out ended in hilarious fashion and gave the franchise a glimmer of hope. We will all agree that the day Urban Meyer was fired is rock bottom for a franchise that has been on the verge of a Super Bowl multiple times. But in order to understand Jacksonville's low point, we have to understand how we got here. Well, how did we get here? The story of Jaguar doom is not limited to the worst coaching hire in the history of the NFL. He was just a Hail Mary that was picked off and returned 100 yards the other way. Jacksonville's descent into football hell truly began in 2011 when the team cut David Garrard and drafted his successor, Missouri quarterback Blaine Gabbert. Before ridding themselves of Garrard, the Jags were not a losing organization. In their first 16 years, the team posted an even or winning record 10 times, including 6 trips to the postseason and 2 AFC title games. The Jags were a proud team that centered its identity around bruisers like Natron Means and Fred Taylor, later to be paired up with eventual rushing champ Maurice Jones-Drew, as well as one of the best receiving duos of the late 90s, Jimmy Smith and Keenan McCardell. Their rise to instant success was unprecedented, especially when compared to the pathetic Texans and Browns. Led by Tom Coughlin and then Jack Del Rio, the Jags were relevant up until 2007, losing to the Patriots in the divisional round. It would be another decade before the Jags returned to the postseason. The team that started out doing everything right started doing everything wrong. As stated before, Garrard was replaced by the hapless Blaine Gabbert, whose greatest highlight in the NFL was a soundbite.
Whoa there, motherfucker!
Then after Gabbert clearly couldn't cut it, the Jags opted to spend a top 5 pick on Blake Bortles, and compounded that mistake by spending another top 5er on running back Leonard Fournette, passing on the opportunity to take Deshaun Watson or Patrick Mahomes. The team fired beloved coach Jack Del Rio and brought in Mike Mularkey, whose name literally means bullshit. They went 2-14. Mistakes continued at head coach as Gus Bradley and Doug Marrone followed. Over the years, the team has been subject to rumors of being moved to London, as owner Shad Khan has deep ties to the UK. The team has also been compared as a side act to the AEW, a wrestling promotion Khan also owns, and seems to fancy much more than his losing football team. As the Jaguars found themselves moments away from the Super Bowl in 2018, their one blip on the map doesn't hide the fact that they were awful for a decade prior and had one decent year and have been god-awful since. Blake Bortles ended up being cut. Jalen Ramsey traded. The Jags go 1-15. But all of those missteps along the way pale in comparison to their most recent visible fuck-up.
The new head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Urban Meyer.
The complete timeline of Urban Meyer.
Of all the coaches I've met in my life, college football coaches, I think Urban's really, really smart. If not the smartest, it's a short list. Too many coaches I'm a ball coach. I got my whistle. I got my plays. Urban Meyer's miles ahead of that. This is a perfect entry point and a perfect fit.
Isn't that fitting? Someone who thinks he knows so much more than others, talking about a coach who thinks he knows so much more than others. After a successful college career and 2 resignations precipitated by health issues, Urban Meyer is named the 6th head coach in Jags history on January 14th, 2021. Yeah, that was just a year ago. The next 12 months will be filled with acts fit for a circus, complete with a clown show. Meyer announces his coaching staff, which includes former Iowa strength and conditioning coach Chris Doyle. Less than 48 hours later, Doyle resigns amid allegations of racism and bullying. Meyer would state that he vetted Doyle and was very confident that he wouldn't be a problem.
I vetted him thoroughly along with our general manager and owner. Feel great about the hire, about his expertise at that position. So we vetted him thoroughly, and
it wouldn't be the first time Meyer was involved with a weirdo coach. Tim Tebow is signed as a tight end. After 2 snaps in a preseason game, Tebow is discovered to have absolutely no business out there, having the blocking ability of a modless Discord server. Meyer seems to already be toying around with the Jags like they are a sideshow. It would indeed get worse. The Jaguars are fined $300,000 for violations of contact during off-season practices, Urban Meyer being personally fined $100,000. Yes, during the offseason, Herb was already pissing his players off by overworking them in the hot Florida sun. I'm surprised he didn't have them run the Oklahoma drill. Red flags going up. After a Week 1 blowout loss to the Texans, Meyer is already rumored to be linked to the vacant head coaching position at USC. Urban flatly denies the allegations.
yeah, there's no chance that I'm here and committed to try to build an organization.
Get used to press conferences where he denies stuff. After losing to the Broncos, Vic Fangio tells the press that Meyer told him every week is like playing Alabama in the NFL after the two talked following the loss. Seriously, did Urban Meyer not understand that he was in the NFL? Every week is not like playing Alabama. Every week is like playing an NFL team, you putz. After starting 0-4 and losing a close Thursday night game to the Bengals, Meyer curiously decides not to join his team on the plane back to Jacksonville, opting to stay in Ohio. We would never have found this out had he not been film practicing for his upcoming OBGYN board exams on a young woman who was not his wife in the bar he owns in Columbus. Meyer would issue an apology about as sincere as a baseball player in the aughts apologizing for using steroids.
To say I'm concerned, yeah, I am concerned, but I just gotta, do right.
Meyer is put on notice by Jaguars owner Shad Khan 4 weeks into the season. The Jags go back to grinding. Star running back James Robinson is benched during a 30-point loss to the Rams after fumbling earlier in the game. Urban Meyer immediately deflects blame for the benching, stating that he was not responsible.
I don't get too involved, like I said. I don't micromanage that, and I know he's been dinged up.
Immediately, reports came out stating otherwise, as it was alleged Meyer himself ordered the benching. Rookie QB Trevor Lawrence had to request Robinson be put back into the game, and the spillover was apparent in the post-game press conference. Robinson is a 1,000-yard rusher. Another bizarre report from Duval surfaces as Tom Pelissero alleges that Urban Meyer, with a record of 2-10 at the time, had called his assistant coaches losers. Meyer called the report nonsense, though it came from very credible sources. Also in the report, Meyer had harshly criticized his receivers, so much so that veteran Marvin Jones left the facility, only to return to confront Meyer. Meyer again brushed off the interaction like an absolute sociopath would, stating the two were fine and laughed about it. I think Marvin Jones laughed because he knew he wouldn't be seeing this clown for much longer. Now here's the kicker. Former Jaguars strong leg Josh Lambo, who had been cut in the preseason, detailed an incident where Urban Meyer literally kicked him in pregame warm-ups and had labeled him as a dipshit. Lambo admitted it was not a hard kick, but nonetheless unacceptable contact. Meyer again denied the allegations. Later, after Twitter and ESPN had a goddamn ratings field day, Urban Meyer was mercilessly fired for cause at 1 in the morning. They literally woke this dude up to tell him he was fired. That's cold-blooded, honestly. Meyer would finish his NFL career with a 2-11 record, 0 road wins, and 1 vagina finger. The tent had been lifted on the circus as Meyer became one of the highest compensated coaches to ever be fired during his rookie season in the NFL. What a fucking dumbass. How do they fix this? Well, with thoughts on that, I'm going to let former Jaguars player Uche Nwaneri help me out with this segment. You can subscribe to his channel from the link below. Well, the first step of undoing this mess is to find the right head coach. They've already made the mistake of bringing back general manager Trent Baalke, who skated through this era with Jack Easterby-like impunity.
I believe that the Jacksonville Jaguars need to fire Trent Baalke because he has already put a draft under his belt, which has pretty much not amounted to much of anything in regards to production from that draft class.
The Jags need to opt for the adult in the room, or an adult in the room. That man could be former coach Jim Caldwell, who the team has already interviewed. Again, this team needs stability at the top, and the stoic Caldwell could do the trick. It could be former Jag Byron Leftwich, though the way things ended with him when he was a player could have been handled better. They do not need Bill O'Brien, who the team is interviewing. Hiring that hack would put them right back to where they were a year ago.
And the biggest thing that I think the Jaguars have to have in order to improve moving into the 2022 season is culture. Building a culture requires having leadership from a coach who understands how to motivate his players, a coach who demands respect from his players while at the same time exhibits that same respect to them and knowing that they can be relied on to get their job done.
Next, they need to build around Trevor Lawrence. The first overall pick's rookie campaign has been less than promising, but he has shown flashes. Environment and supporting cast is the #1 factor when it comes to a young quarterback's success, and the Jags need to surround their massive investment with an even bigger investment.
The Jaguars need some draft capital. This is a franchise that is trying to rebuild from pretty much nothing after the disaster that was Urban Meyer. So there's going to need to be a litany of picks available to them in order to try and fill out this roster with some young talent as quickly as they can.
They also need to shore up the offensive line and keep Lawrence clean. Right now, his jersey is getting dirtier than Urban Meyer's fingers.
Now, they're also going to need a bookend tackle on the other side of the offensive line. They could find this in the draft with somebody like Evan Neal. It's a possibility.
The Jags can trade down and use their first-round picks on multiple offensive linemen, or use the #1 overall pick on Aiden Hutchinson, who could form a devastating 1-2 punch opposite Josh Allen. You know, the one that wrecked the other Josh Allen. The cupboard is not bare in Jacksonville. In fact, they might have the most important position in sports covered already, which would put them well ahead of the curve in the NFL. So, why are the Jacksonville Jaguars so bad? It's because they can't string together any good decisions. And until Shad Khan notices the team exists, it's gonna stay that way. Send in the clowns.
Here with me, the clown out has brought victory to Duval, but there is still more work to be done. Fire Baalke, Shad Khan, fire Baalke, do what's right, help this franchise start fresh and build a foundation so that we can get to doing some winning.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave a like, comment, or subscribe for more interesting films on sports. I'm 5 Points Vids, and you made it to my next video.